Gregory tapped the microphone, smiled for the cameras, and cleared his throat. "Before we toast Amelia," he said, "there's one more announcement." The hall stilled. Flashbulbs froze mid-blink. Amelia's cap tassel trembled. Bianca Caldwell kept her shoulders square, fingers flat on linen, band catching light. "We're done," Gregory declared, voice bright as cut glass. "I'm filing today. We want different lives." A chair scraped. Someone whispered, "Here?" The string quartet faltered. The MC looked to the booth, then killed the music. Bianca didn't flinch. She set her water flute down, aligned it with the knife, lifted a cream envelope from her clutch, and placed it at center plate, in his eyeline. A breath in, a measured nod. Gregory kept smiling for the phones. "Congratulations, kiddo," he told Amelia, patting her shoulder before turning for handshakes that didn't arrive. The board chair retreated. A professor coughed into a napkin. Bianca adjusted Amelia's sash as the room sank to a low hiss of whispers and shudders. No raised voice, no pleading, only posture. Tall, composed, irrefutable. She stepped back from the table, her heels clicked once, twice. She guided Amelia to the corridor doors, pausing for the photographer who, by instinct, documented exits. At the threshold, Bianca looked over her shoulder. Gregory met her gaze and finally saw the envelope, tucked beneath the charger like a fuse waiting for a match. His smile thinned. The doors sighed open. Cool hall air replaced the press of perfume and applause. Down the corridor, June light pooled against the marble. Bianca rested her hand between Amelia's shoulder blades and kept walking. No comment for the guests, no scene to salvage. Just a beginning that looked, at first glance, like an ending. One more reason people love family revenge stories. If this hooked you, subscribe for the next chapter. The corridor hush follows them out of the hall, then fades with the click of Bianca's heels. She guides Amelia to a bench, smooths the sash again, and checks the time on her watch. No speeches. No scenes. Outside the glass doors, the campus lawn glitters with confetti. Inside Bianca's clutch, the cream envelope rests. Not opened, not discussed. The signs did not begin tonight. They arrived in small, tidy packages. 3 nights ago, Gregory came home late, jacket still crisp, a ribbon of unfamiliar cologne clinging to the lapel. He set his phone face down on the counter, screen dark, notifications hushed. When Bianca stepped into the kitchen, he closed the laptop with 2 fingers and a tight smile. "I have an early meeting." He rinsed a glass and left it to drip. A week before that, the country club posted photos from a partner's mixer. Gregory appeared in the edge of a frame, half-turned, a hand raised toward someone cropped from view. Diana sent the link at 6 a.m., no comment, the icon of wide eyes. Amelia watched the clip twice, then put her phone away and ironed her gown. Receipts told their own story. Fuel from a station 40 miles west. 2 dinners booked on the same night in different neighborhoods. A jewelry store charge the day Bianca hosted Amelia's thesis celebration. No new bracelet at home, no ribboned box in the closet. Bianca did not argue. She stacked evidence the way she folds linens, straight corners, gentle pressure, no wasted motion. Date, time, location. A photo of a receipt aligned to a calendar entry. At the bank, a voice left a message. "Calling to verify a new transfer authority. Please return our call." She saved it, labeled it, and logged the minute and second. Later, a cashier at a bistro smiled and remarked that Mr. Caldwell used 2 cards at dessert. Bianca thanked her, tipped, and signed with a steady hand. Gregory changed small habits. He parked at the far end of the driveway. He carried a slim black folio he had never owned before. He bought a cabin-sized suitcase and left it near the back door, wheels turned outward, ready to roll. Amelia noticed the choreography. No selfies with her father, no arm around shoulders. His gaze slid past the lens and landed somewhere over her shoulder, practiced and distant. From the corridor bench, Bianca studies the night through the window and rises. Her notes are complete. Her voice is quiet. The envelope waits on porcelain and silver. Viewers who love family revenge stories would recognize the shape of this evening. Not a rupture, a reveal. And the ground is already marked for what comes next. 2 weeks before the ceremony, Bianca labeled a folder June Light and set a timer. Not an argument, not a warning, just dates, hours, tasks. She taped a grid inside the pantry door. Day 1. New bank, new routing number, new payroll destination. Her income and the premarital fund moved across town to a branch Gregory had never used. Real-time alerts enabled. Daily limits on the joint account reduced to a token amount. Day 2. Attorney on the 33rd floor, Miriam Lee, SQ. Conference room, a pitcher of water. They reviewed the prenup, circled the adultery clause, drafted revocation letters for every financial power Gregory held. Emergency motions prepared, freeze orders ready to send at a tap. Day 3. Evidence, not suspicions. She opened a ledger labeled Chain of Custody and logged each item, photo of the jewelry receipt, timestamp and cashier initial, fuel stop 40 miles west, country club post, archived with source link and capture hash. Day 4. Security turns physical. Bianca checked serial numbers on watches, camera, bonds, photographed each on neutral background. Deed, insurance riders, share certificates, and Amelia's birth record went to a safe deposit box. The household safe got a new code. Day 5. Security turns digital. Two-factor changed to hardware keys. Shared location services toggled off. Marco, old friend from university IT, imaged the family laptop and phone and sealed drives in anti-static bags. A button camera took a quiet perch above the desk, motion-triggered only. Day 6. Phone calls. Please confirm the originator on the new transfer authority, the banker asked. Bianca Caldwell only, she replied. Soft fraud flags placed with bureaus, card limits rearranged so any large attempt required her voice. Day 7. Logistics. Diana became emergency contact. The building manager updated access permissions. A spare apartment key went to a lockbox. The concierge signed the logbook at 09:14 a.m., initialed DV. Bianca reserved a short-term rental 2 blocks away. Bianca scheduled a courier dry run, timing elevator waits and street traffic precisely. 2 days later, she met Amelia's advisor to finalize seating for the ceremony. No details. Automation marched. Alerts on, envelopes addressed, couriers on standby. The envelope on the banquet table had a twin in certified mail, revocations, notice to banks, and a cover letter from Miriam. A laser-printed list titled Transactions of Interest summarized what Gregory had already left behind on paper. She practiced signatures. She synced clocks. The night before the celebration, she tested the system. A $10 transfer fired an alert in under 12 seconds. A camera clip captured lamplight and a ticking clock. Good, the quiet worked. On the afternoon of the announcement, the final gears aligned. At 4:10 p.m., the bank's soft flags elevated to hard blocks. At 4:12, revocations hit email and fax. At 4:14, certified letters scanned as accepted. Bianca did not chase Gregory from the podium. A mechanism stood behind her. In family revenge stories, preparation is the quiet drumbeat. Bianca kept time with her pen and her breathing. When the music cut and the whispers rose, the plan did not. It waited. And when Gregory reached, he would reach. June light would meet his hand before the money did. Parking lot heat shimmered off the asphalt as Gregory left the hall, phone open to his banking app. The screen pulsed. Transfer failed. Authorization revoked. He stopped between headlights. Tried again. Same red banner. Another attempt. Declined. He crossed to the ATM. Inserted the joint card. The machine swallowed, paused, and spit a receipt. Hard block in effect. Contact your institution. He thumbed into email and tapped a financial inbox. Two-factor requested a hardware key. The hardware key lived on Bianca's keychain. He stared at the prompt, then at the exit ramp. At the jewelry store, the bell chimed. He set a lacquered box on the counter. Refund to the card. The manager scanned the receipt and frowned. System review. Moment, please. The POS froze on a spinning wheel. He marched to the branch on Ashland. Miss Rivera met him with professional gravity. Mr. Caldwell. She guided him to a glass desk and slid a fax across. Firm letterhead, Miriam Lee, Esq. Revocation of financial powers. Bold line, only Bianca Caldwell may authorize movement on these instruments. We've placed a hold on any transaction above $1,000 pending verification. His phone rang as he stalked back into the corridor. Bianca, what are you? Her voice stayed even. Read the envelope. The call ended. Fluorescent silence. Cut to an office view. A red filed stamp thudding onto emergency orders. A scanner light crossing envelopes. Courier tracking flipping to accepted 1614. Miriam nodded to her paralegal and moved the folder labeled June Light to the outbound tray. Marco's report landed in Bianca's inbox. Unauthorized login attempts blocked at 1622, 1624, 1625. Two-factor failures recorded. Hash values attached to exhibits. Country club post, jewelry receipt, fuel slip. A gray pop-up flashed on Gregory's laptop. Access denied. Night vision footage from a button cam showed his hand rifling the black folio days earlier. Pages lifted, phone angled for photos. Timestamps marked 2341, 2344. The clip uploaded automatically to June Light chain of custody. Bianca did not leave the campus. She sat by a glass wall with Amelia and watched notifications roll across her screen. Card limit adjusted. Transfer blocked. Revocation acknowledged. She underlined a line in her notebook. Stage 1. Complete. At the country club that evening, a server redirected his path with a polite, immovable smile. Two men from his foursome studied the carpet. A group chat on his phone showed 3 dots, then nothing. He tried an emergency line of credit. The interface asked for primary spouse authorization. The setting had been changed. Bianca's name populated the field. He pressed submit anyway. The final notice arrived with bureaucratic neatness. Account frozen pending court order. The branch door whispered shut behind him like a careful phone click. He stood in the spill of an overhead lamp, small against the lot. In family revenge stories, the first counterstrike rarely shouts. It constricts. It measures. It makes room for the next wave. Bianca's phone dimmed. Her shoulders lowered half an inch. She walked Amelia toward the rideshare line, the evening folding open ahead of them. Calm, precise steps forward. Behind them, the fuse she'd placed under porcelain and silver burned quietly toward part 5. Phones began buzzing before Bianca's rideshare reached the curb. Diana's name flashed first, then an unknown number tied to the country club office. She answered at Diana's apartment, coat still on. Gregory's face filled the TV via video call, jaw set, voice. She's freezing funds without cause, he told the aunts and uncles. She's been hiding money for years. Bianca spoke 6 words. Screen share the bank notice, please. Diana mirrored her phone to the TV. Black letters on white. Only Bianca Caldwell may authorize movement on these instruments. A hush replaced the cousins' gasps. An older uncle cleared his throat. His teacup rattled once on the saucer. I see, he said, the reprimand draining from his posture. He reached for the remote and turned the volume down. Chat pings stacked on the edge of the screen. In the lounge at the club, a manager typed, "Reservation unavailable this evening." A friend from Gregory's foursome sent, "Bad look, Greg," and stopped replying. Miss Rivera called from the branch. "Documentation received and logged," she said. "Refund at the jeweler remains pending review." Her cadence sounded like a metronome, steady, precise. On social media, the partner's mixer photo resurfaced. A blurred shoulder, a familiar watch. Bianca didn't comment. Miriam released a 1-line brief to press and family inboxes. Ongoing legal matter, no further comment. Amelia stood beside her mother in the hall. Questions drifted toward her from classmates, then thinned. A calendar reminder popped up on her phone. Therapy at 4 tomorrow. She nodded, slid the phone away, and stayed close. Marco's packet hit the printer tray at Diana's. Failed 2FA at 1622, 1624, 1625. Country Club post archived with capture hash. Fuel slip, jewelry receipt, chain of custody log. Diana flipped each page and made a single mark with a blue pen. Gregory tried another call, this time to a family chat without Bianca. "He's painting timelines that don't match the receipts," Diana said, dry. She texted one image, date, time, total, and the thread went quiet. The doorbell rang at 8:41. A process server stood beneath the porch light, folder tucked to chest. "Mr. Caldwell?" Gregory's name echoed from the foyer speaker. Silence, then a buzz as the intercom released the lock. He signed. The pen scratched loud in the entry. Paper changed hands. Bianca checked her watch. She thanked Diana, kissed Amelia's hair, and gathered the folder. In family revenge stories, the blast isn't always public. Sometimes it's procedural. Sometimes it's a televised shrug. Tonight it looked like relatives reading, nodding, and stepping back. Tomorrow would be louder. But for now, the room understood. Time for court. Morning light washed the courthouse steps. Bianca climbed with Miriam, a thin folder under Miriam's arm. Gregory arrived late, tie skewed, scanning for sympathy and finding lenses. Inside, dark wood and a high clock. Amelia sat behind her mother with Diana, hands folded. The clerk called the case, microphones blinked awake. "Appearances," the judge said. "Miriam Lee for Mrs. Caldwell. Robert French for Mr. Caldwell." "Proceed." Miriam stood without drama. "Your Honor, we seek to maintain the holds already in place." She set exhibits on the table and clicked a remote. On the screen, revocation of financial powers. Only Bianca Caldwell may authorize movement on these instruments. Next, bank receipt accepted, 1614. Next, button cam clip of Gregory rifling a black folio at 2341, phone angled for photos. Next, jewelry receipt, fuel slip 40 miles west, and login logs with failed two-factor at 1622, 1624, 1625. Chain of custody? "Logged and sealed," Miriam said. "Hashes attached, custodians identified." Miss Bush-Rivera from the branch testified, neutral and precise. She explained the soft flag, then the hard block and the $1,000 threshold. The jeweler's manager followed by video. "Refund pending review," she said. "We froze the transaction when counsel's fax arrived." Robert French tried a different story. "Mrs. Caldwell exerts coercive control," he said. Miriam's voice stayed level. "Yes or no, Mr. Caldwell, did you attempt a transfer at 1610 on your daughter's ceremony day?" "Yes." "ATM withdrawals immediately thereafter?" "Yes." "Did you possess the hardware key for two-factor?" "No." "Did you sign this prenup?" "Yes." The judge leaned forward. "Read paragraph 8 aloud." Gregory's voice thinned. "Concealment of assets or extramarital expenditure voids any spousal claim to the premarital fund." Silence. A camera shutter snapped once. Anticipating objection, Miriam covered metadata. Timestamps, device IDs, ceiling steps, delivery logs. "Admitted," the judge ruled. Amelia spoke briefly. "At the ceremony, my father announced a divorce into the microphone. My mother placed an envelope on the table and left with me. She did not raise her voice." "Thank you." Diana provided one screenshot from the family chat, date, time, location pin. It contradicted Gregory's timeline. Robert French sat down. Bianca testified last. Shoulders level. "Yes, the revocation letters were mailed and faxed. Yes, I adjusted limits on the joint account after irregularities. Yes, I opened a separate payroll account consistent with the prenup." French tried one more pivot. "Punitive?" "Protective," Miriam said. "Temporary, pending disclosure." The judge paused, then spoke. "The court maintains all existing holds. Mrs. Caldwell retains temporary primary control of marital accounts for preservation. Mr. Caldwell shall file complete financial disclosures within 7 days. Counsel will confer regarding discovery. Next hearing in 30 days. Stamps thudded paper, adjourned quietly, chairs whispered against the floor. The gallery released a breath. A bailiff opened the side door. The recorder gathered exhibits in a stack. Amelia exhaled through her nose, a fog on the pane behind her row. Flags stirred above the steps. Traffic murmured. A delivery bike clicked past the curb as if nothing unusual had happened, as schedules ruled the day more than microphones and vows. In the hallway, cameras waited. Answers were, no further comment. Bianca guided Amelia toward the elevators, hand light at her daughter's back. Gregory lingered near a pillar, tie still crooked, phone vibrating unanswered. Reporters peeled away. Diana pressed a bottle of water into Bianca's hand. Miriam checked her calendar and nodded once. In family revenge stories, the sharpest blade is paperwork delivered at the right hour. Here, truth moved on rails. Timed notices, measured testimony, signatures that did not shake. No triumphal speeches, just posture, process, and a door sliding shut on a man who smiled for every lens. As Gregory accepted the disclosure schedule, his face pinched at the edges. A clock chimed the half-hour. Bianca lifted her chin the width of a breath and stepped into the elevator's quiet. Tomorrow would measure consequence. Tonight drew the line. Day 3 after the hearing began with a badge slide and a closed door. Gregory reached the office in a wrinkled suit. Human Resources led him to a glass room and took his access card. Administrative leave, pending investigation, the manager said. Emails stacked while he rode the elevator down. Overdraft fees from pending holds. A credit flag labeling him high risk. His club auto billing bounced. The account moved to suspended. At the country club gate, the guard checked a tablet and shook his head. Policy, the guard said, polite but fixed. The foursome thread showed 3 dots, then stopped. Sort it out, Greg, one bubble read. A local blog ran a soft headline. Graduation toast turns to public split. Comments scrolled. Moderators removed his explanation minutes later. He lowered the phone. He exhaled slowly. A message came from the woman in the mixer photo. This isn't what you told me, she wrote, and blocked him. The screen reflected in a shop window as he passed. Family calls turned brief. Parents mentioned fixed income and wished him luck. A cousin proposed a great lawyer, then quit the chat. In the lobby, neighbors hushed and studied mail slots. A notice for late parking fees clung to his windshield. He packed overnight into a tote and drove to a motel off the Beltway. He wedged a towel under the door. On the desk, the disclosure packet looked thicker than in court. 7 days is a number. Deadlines are edges. He paged and repaged, missing statements, missing signatures. Miriam filed a motion to compel. The docket pinged his inbox at 9:12 p.m. At the jeweler, refund pending review became refund denied, legal hold. Security footage caught his tight jaw and quick exit. He carried the same watch to a pawn counter, ID scan, flash photo, signature that skipped at the tail. The payout didn't reach half the receipt. Calls went unanswered. Coffee stained his cuff. Stubble shadowed his jaw. Across town, Bianca jogged the lakeside path at twilight. She declined interviews with a quiet no comment and took the elevator to her floor. Her calendar filled with clear blocks, her posture stayed clean-lined. In family revenge stories, dissent isn't loud every hour. It is incremental and public. Deadlines crowd a screen. Memberships lapse. A name loses its echo. A courier slid an envelope under the motel door. Supplemental disclosure due within 48 hours. Gregory read the line twice and sat back, eyes rimmed like bruises. The stairwell beyond his window looked taller than yesterday. Morning widened across the lake, pale and glassy. Bianca ran the path in measured intervals, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Footfalls steady, ponytail stilled by a cap. She finished the loop, stretched, and smiled at Amelia. Back home, the walls were a softer white. New curtains, clean lines. A desk faced the window now. The framed diploma sat center shelf beside a tiny fern. Amelia taped a Polaroid to the fridge and wrote the date. On the counter, a checklist waited. Banking squared, utilities retitled, passwords reset and stored in a vault. Bianca checked the last box and exhaled. At the kitchen table, she opened a laptop with a fresh asset tag. Articles of organization, filed. EIN, assigned. Business account, approved. She titled the venture Caldwell Ledger, LLC, Mission, Financial Safety for Women Rebuilding After Rupture. Saturday brought a small circle to a library room. Bianca wrote 2 columns on a whiteboard. Alerts and controls. She spoke sparingly, demonstrating, not preaching. Receipts tell a story, she said, holding 3 anonymized examples. Set spending limits. Enable real-time notifications. Review beneficiaries. Record custody of proof. The women took notes, asked brief questions, booked one-on-ones. Miriam and Marco joined her the next afternoon. They standardized a toolkit. Revocation templates, disclosure timelines, device imaging steps. Bianca posted the checklist to the website with a quiet banner. Free to use, free to share. No commentary about Gregory, just resources. Amelia's calendar chimed. Therapy at 4. They walked there together. Afterward, they bought a pothos and set it on the sill. Tea steamed. Breathing matched the kettle's whisper. A community group emailed an invitation to speak. Bianca agreed to 10 minutes, slides minimal. On stage, she said 1 sentence and let it land. Preparation is protection. Applause rose, contained. Afterward, inbox thank yous stacked. A nonprofit asked to co-host a class called Financial Safety 101. Her schedule began to fill with tidy blocks and morning runs. Reporters still hovered. Bianca kept the same reply. No further comment. Her only post announced workshop dates with a soft lake photo. Insurance riders were updated. A smart lock clicked into place. Documents moved to the safe deposit box. Checksums updated. She signed a revised will and named Amelia as beneficiary. Across town, a motel lamp buzzed. Gregory watched deadlines gather like storm cells on a weather map. He lifted a pawn ticket from the nightstand and folded it twice. Bianca passed through the lobby of her building, shoulders level. She nodded to the doorman and stepped into the elevator's hush. In the mirror, she looked like someone with appointments to keep, not scores to settle. In family revenge stories, this is the deeper cut, reconstruction, not spectacle. Evening cooled the window glass. Amelia set the table for 2. Bianca plated chicken and asparagus and turned on a playlist. Between courses, they opened mail. A postcard read, "Proud of you." Bianca smiled and wedged it into the frame around the Polaroid. An email arrived from the court. Next hearing confirmed for next month. She closed the laptop and rinsed the plates. The plant's leaves turned toward the lamp, thriving in the small, deliberate light. 1 month slid by like smooth water along the lake wall. Bianca kept the morning loop, the whiteboard schedule, the quiet tea after sunset. Caldwell Ledger, LLC posted its 3rd workshop date, every seat filled within hours. A newsletter crossed 10,000 subscribers, and replies stacked with thank yous, screenshots of new alerts, budgets finally balancing. By 2 months, a hall hummed at 8, chairs in rows, a simple banner, Financial Safety 101. Bianca checked the projector, then greeted a line of attendees, teachers, nurses, a florist with ink on her wrist. Miriam waved from the back. Marco rolled in a Pelican case of demo gear. No speeches about the past, just tools. Media requests continued. Bianca consented to 1 long-form interview about household risk controls. Names and dates were absent by design. When asked about the divorce, she kept the line she had rehearsed in silence. No comment. Evenings settled into ordinary ritual. Amelia interned part-time on client intake, color-coding forms with neat tabs. Dinner stayed simple, steamed vegetables, roasted chicken, a shared pear for dessert. They compared calendars and penciled a weekend road trip to Door County. The Polaroid on the fridge faded a shade and looked loved. Insurance riders updated. The deed recorded to Bianca alone. A dashboard glowed with 6 months of reserves, trending toward 9. A smart lock chirped when the door closed. The fern and pothos thickened on the sill. Gregory's side thinned out. A postal slip marked employment terminated. Credit reports sank. Notices stamped past due arrived with mechanical regularity. The club formalized expulsion by mail. A blog updated a short line, no longer with the firm, and moved on. Family chats cooled. An aunt messaged, "Follow the court's schedule," and nothing more. Gregory typed 3 drafts and sent none. The second hearing ran short. The judge noted Bianca's compliance, ordered Gregory to complete disclosures, and assigned minor penalties for delay. Paper tapped wood. A date for final arguments cleared onto the docket. On a Thursday night, Bianca sifted mail at the table. A postcard read, "Proud of you," in blue marker. She framed it with a magnet and smiled. In family revenge stories, the contrast is the point. One life steadies, one erodes. Here, steadiness spoke without speeches. An email pinged. Final hearing confirmed next month. Bianca closed the laptop and turned off the kitchen light. Late afternoon settled over the courthouse. The judge read the ruling. The prenup honored, the freezes maintained, disclosures complete, minor penalties for delay assigned to Gregory. Papers tapped wood. A clock clicked once. Bianca stood straight and nodded once. Amelia's fingers laced with hers. Across the aisle, Gregory gathered copies without lifting his eyes. The bailiff opened the door. The room breathed out, orderly as filing. In the hallway, microphones leaned forward. "No further comment," Miriam said, and steered the trio to the elevator. On street level, traffic moved. Bianca's phone vibrated with a calendar reminder labeled simply, "Tomorrow." Back at Caldwell Ledger, a cabinet drawer slid open. Inside waited a stamped folder marked "Filed." Bianca placed it on the second rail, then shut the steel with a soft thud. Evening returned them to the lake. The kitchen lit warm. Steam rose from a small pot of tea. A postcard read, "Proud of you" beside Amelia's diploma, and a pothos. The smart lock clicked. Quiet settled on glass. Across town, a corridor buzzed under fluorescent light. Gregory signed for certified mail, alone. He folded the notice and stared at the tiles until the light timed off. Here, triumph refused spectacle. The victory belonged to posture, preparation, and process, the same quiet instruments that power family revenge stories when cameras blinked away. Bianca rinsed 2 cups, dried her hands on a striped towel, and lifted the window an inch for lake air. She touched Amelia's shoulder. They laughed at nothing. The postcard glowed softly in the window's reflection, a small flag marking a larger shore. Tomorrow held plans,